Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Challenge. We'll be starting in a bit, but before we proceed, I want to especially welcome every one of you. Thank you for being a part of this, and I'm very certain you will not regret this at all. I hope you have your notebooks ready. I hope you have your writing, you have your pen. I hope you have an open mind, right? Whatever it is you knew before now. Can you hear me loud and clear? All right, so if you can hear me loud and clear, just type 5 in the chat room. Type 5 in the chat room. Just type 5 in the chat room. Excellent. Sebastian, Brian, John, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. So I understand we have almost 1,000 people who registered for this. And so we will be waiting a bit. And while we're waiting for others to join us, can you please introduce yourselves, where you're joining from, the city or the country from which you're joining? We know people registered from Kenya, from Ghana, from South Africa, from Nigeria, obviously, and of course, a few other countries, Rwanda. So let's know where you're joining us from. Introduce yourselves, and let's know where you're joining from. Thank you very much, everyone. We look forward to having a great time today. Okay. It will be nice if you also enable your videos so that we know exactly who we're interacting with tonight. So I understand it is 9 p.m. in South Africa. It's 6 p.m. thereabouts in Ghana. So Ghana is 1 hour behind Nigeria. So thank you all for joining. So let's know where you're joining from, your name, and where you're joining from. Oh, United States of Asaba, I see that. Ose Felix, thank you. Christopher from Accra, Ghana, fantastic. Ghana. And then I'm seeing Folao Ifelua from Lagos, Nigeria, awesome. Joel from Lagos, Nigeria. Brian from Nairobi, Kenya, good to have you, sir. Awolade, forgive me if I murdered that name, Dotun from Lagos, Nigeria. Where else am I seeing here? Sebastian from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. David Oloyede from Lagos, Nigeria. Ayomide from Lagos, Nigeria. Where else? All right, so it's important to let us know as well that if you registered for this, Nguako, forgive me if I murdered that name, from South Africa. Awesome, good to have you here. Dari from Lagos, Nigeria. Lydia from Kenya. Awesome. Penina from Nairobi, Kenya. Awesome. You know the interesting thing, I've never been to Kenya. Never been to Kenya. So amazing, so shocking. Sam from Lagos, Nigeria. Joshua Philip from Abuja. Awesome. Ezron from Kenya. Wow, from Ibadan. I'm seeing from Ibadan. Mudupe from Ibadan here. Ahmed Sulaiman from Oshogbo, Osun State. Good to have you, sir. Femi Akinyemi from Lagos. Awesome. Grace from Ghana. Wonderful. This is phenomenal. Iyabo Day from Ajah, Lagos. Thank you. David from Nairobi, Kenya. Okay, someone said that welcome to Kenya. Thank you, PN King. Thank you. Otito Okafo. So forgive me. Let me just take Okafo. Okafo from Lagos. Thank you. Don James from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you. Sheyi Jacobs Abala from Lagos, Nigeria. Good to have you. Thank you for joining. Deeply appreciate your time. So if we have almost 1,000 people registered for this program, and we have 48 people in the room, or 51 now. Do you think we should proceed? Let me have a consensus in the room, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, it's going to be a 3-day session I'm going to be having, and this is the first time I've been doing something like this for free. Someone said, "Volume, please." Can you hear me? I thought people could hear me all along. Or so somebody said, "Let's go." Yes, because I recognize that many people are joining from different parts of the world. Who is 091300? Can you identify yourself? Can you identify yourself, please? Can you identify yourself?
I'm here already.
Okay. All right, so please, my recommendation is that you keep your video on, you enable your video. And then for those of you who are just joining us, we have asked that everyone should introduce themselves and where they are joining us from, so we have a sense of the people in the room. Okay, so let's get started. So today, I want to introduce myself. My name is Oladipupo Clement. I'm a trust wealth expert. I'm very passionate about seeing people create wealth. I hate poverty with a passion, and this is what has been driving me for well over 20 years now. And that's my commitment. That's my life calling. I know the color of poverty. I've tasted it. I understand the color and taste of poverty. And so nobody can intimidate me with what they are going through. And so I also recognize that Africa is the more or less the hub of poverty. Somebody say, "Cannot hear." Please, admin, can you please help me attend to those who say they can't hear? I'm suspecting that it must be your network from your end. Maybe you should log out and log in again. Right. So I'm very passionate about seeing people create wealth, and that's been my lifelong commitment for well over 20 years. It has always been from one level of understanding and deeper level of understanding. So literally every year, the version of me is always improving. And so that's a bit I would say about myself. Someone said to me one time, said that you don't blow your trumpet. And I said, there's nothing to blow. It's only empty barrels that make the most noise. In my opinion, just add value and people will know. Some of you are meeting me for the first time. Some of you have never heard of me before. I know, again, I mean, in a country like Nigeria, in a place like Africa, where most people put out content and then they don't even practice the things they share. Some people can just Google up some information and then they come regurgitate what they've picked from somewhere. You know, this being my life, anyone who has known me for upward of 20 years can tell you categorically that this what is most consistent with my life. So I'm a representation of the regular and average African. My commitment is lifelong. My commitment is to the economic emancipation of Africans. I believe that you are not free until you are economically free. I personally believe that you are not truly free until you are economically free. Until you are financially free, you are not really, really free. So this is a very important subject. So let's begin. My admin, can you please pull up a few things? So as I talk, you start seeing things on screen. If you can, screen grab as much as you can. And let's see how this goes. And just in case you have any question, please write down, note your questions, or drop them in the chat room as it comes to your mind. And we will take those questions, only written down, only documented questions that we can accommodate within the time frame that we have. All right. So now we want to look at the framework for the financial freedom. So sometime last year, I wrote a book titled The Financial Freedom Master Guide. And that book is a masterpiece on its own. It's documented literally everything I have learned, and that can help anybody, just about anybody, create wealth, right? And more importantly, help people achieve financial freedom. But it's important to establish and start with the framework upon which the book was built. The structure of the book is such that it addresses who you must become, right? And then what you must do, and what you must achieve. So the book was written on the framework of the triangle of life. And the triangle of life basically says be, do, and achieve. So there's who you must become, there's what you must do, and then there's essentially what you will achieve. If you become a version of who you have never been before, it will impact on what you begin to do, and what you start to do will literally translate to the result you would love to see. So a lot of times when you see people who are successful, the first thing people want to ask is, oh, tell me, what is the secret? What did you do? What people don't realize is that there is a software component of every success that you see. There's a mindset, there is a belief system that is driving most of our actions. A lot of us have already been programmed for failure because of the way, the environment in which we grew up, the kind of association we've maintained or sustained over the years. And that in itself is going to sabotage everything you intend to achieve. So many of us have developed self-sabotaging thought patterns without us realizing it. Many of us think that we are the one taking decisions in our lives. No, it is you have been programmed or pre-programmed. You have been conditioned to take certain steps. You have been programmed to act in a particular way without you realizing it. And so being is the fundamental part of this journey, and it's the most difficult part. It's the most difficult part. It is the most difficult part, and that's why we're starting today. Today's financial challenge is beginning with who you must become. Now, listen to this carefully. Who you become, right? The version of you today cannot possess the future. The version of you today can't possess the future. So you must constantly reinvent yourself. You must constantly evolve. Anybody who has known me for upward of 10 years, 20 years, will tell you that the version of me they knew is always changing. In fact, at a point in my life, I paused and I asked myself, when did I become like this? So when you want to achieve what you've never achieved before, one thing that is very important is that you must become who you have never been before. Sometimes challenges of life, experiences of life, adversity can make you become who you have never been before. But that is reactional. That is not being proactive. You don't wait for challenges. You don't wait for adversity to make you the kind of person you need to become. You make deliberate effort. And this is so important. This is so important. The adversities in life, I see elders in this room, and I can tell you categorically that they've been through different things in their lives. And the things they've been through in their lives have shaped their beliefs, have shaped their perspectives, have shaped the way, have shaped their mindset. Some people, the challenges and adversity of their lives has driven them internally, has taken them into their closets, has locked them into the prison of their past. Some other people, the challenges they've been through has unveiled and revealed the giant within them. And listen to me carefully. Until you change, nothing changes. It's one of the most important lessons you would ever learn in this particular challenge. Until you change, nothing changes. Listen to this. I'm going to make this very important statement, and don't ever forget it. In life, you don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. In life, you don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. And so you need to work on who you've who you are. You need to work on who you must become. This is too important. So because most times we feel that some people are just lucky. Yes, I recognize there's a providence, there's a sovereign part of life that we don't control. But the reality still remains that what you attract ultimately is that in direct proportion to who you really are. So you need to invest in that. That's what the being is all about. And then the doing is about behaviors, actions that you need to take, steps you need to take. So there are practical things you will do that you need to do that nobody will do for you. All right. And of course, the achieved components of this framework is the result and the outcome. So what we'll be doing today, the focus of my topic today, so I'm just speaking just one of the topics, right? One of the sections of who you must become, how to alter who you must become today. And then tomorrow, we look at one section of what you must do. So today we'll focus on who you must become, becoming a money magnet. Becoming a money magnet is what we'll be doing today. Tomorrow, we'll look at, one of the most powerful habits of champions. And I'm going to get to that tomorrow, and then helping you to achieve your financial target tomorrow. So no matter the country in which you are, no matter the city you are, no matter your current financial situation, if you implement the things I'm going to share with you, I can guarantee you, this is proven, this is tested. What I'm sharing with you is tested. And so that will be done tomorrow. So we'll be looking at how to achieve your financial target, how to really make the money, right? So I'll show that tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we'll dwell more on how to create wealth. It's going to be powerful. So please don't miss anything. Don't miss anything at all. And again, so that represents the framework. So I'll get into that shortly. Now, in order for you to journey to financial freedom, there are 5 levels. There are 5 levels, and that's what the entire program covers. And then I'm going to take them from bottom up. Number 1 is, so let's start from number 5, is financial crisis. And majority of people in Africa fall into this category. Majority of people in Africa, this is where they are, financial crisis. What is financial crisis? Financial crisis is a state where you are not generating revenue, but you are spending. I hope you all know, you agree with me that everybody is talented at spending. All of us are gifted at spending. In fact, for some people in certain parts of the world, your expenses are on autopilot. It has no regard to your color, to your race, to your creed, to your religion. It has no regard to your gender. So your expense is already on autopilot. And that is already going to put you, and so if you're not making income, if your expenses is racing faster than you're not even making any money, this is financial crisis. Now, the other part of financial crisis, where I've also seen a lot of people, is the fact that some people are worth billions in assets, but they are not liquid. They don't have cash, no cash flow. That can also put you in a state of financial crisis. And there are specific things to be done for each of these levels. And now the reason why this journey is also important at this particular introductory stage is so that you know where you really are, and you need to do your thorough assessment of yourself and be honest with yourself. Anybody can deceive anybody, but please don't deceive yourself. The essence of this particular journey is so that you can identify which level do you belong, where exactly are you. So it's possible for you not to be earning income at all, but you have to spend. You keep spending money. Expenses is a daily occurrence. That's financial crisis. It's also possible for you to be a billionaire in assets, yet because you don't have steady cash flow, you're also in financial crisis because you can't fulfill your obligations. That's also financial crisis. Level 4 is financial instability. This is the point where your take home doesn't take you home. Your expenses is racing faster than your income. That is the level of financial instability. And there are loads of people. In Nigeria, for example, a research report showed that 75% of Nigerians earn less than 100,000 naira a month. 100,000 naira a month is less than $200, $200 US. And so that is a state of financial instability, because if your expenses is racing faster than your income, then you are clearly financially unstable. The third level is financial stability, and this is the trickiest part of it. Financial stability is the point where you maintain financial equilibrium. So what your take home will not only take you home, but can provide some degree of comfort for you. And so you find loads of people who are trapped in this level. This is where you find most middle class. Most people in middle class, this is where they are. The challenge with this level is that, number one, you are largely dependent on your active income. So you have a good job and you are well paid. But the danger of being in this level is that if anything affects your current source of active income, you'll be back to financial instability or financial crisis. The challenge with this level also is that a lot of people's lifestyle is already way beyond even their current income. So if anything affects their source of income, they are back to financial crisis. So it's not really a good place to be. So most of the people in this level can travel, go on vacation anywhere in the world. Their children attend good schools. They live in very nice neighborhoods. They eat what they want. But the danger of this level is that if anything tampers with their source of active income, they are back to financial instability or financial crisis. So it's not a place you want to be. The next level, which is very desirable and not a bad idea, is financial independence. Financial independence is that point in your life and my life where the proceeds from your investments or assets is not only capable of meeting your, the proceeds from your investment and assets is able to meet your personal and family needs without you having to work another day. And so for those of you who may not understand what I mean, so if you have $1 million worth of assets, worth of houses, worth of real estate apartments, right? That's giving you, I'm saying, okay, thank you. Anything the matter? I hope you are being attended to. So please, guys, help me attend to any question right now so I don't lose focus. All right. So if you give attention to, if you have $1 million worth of assets, apartments here and there, and that is giving you an average of between 15% or 20% annual income. That means every year, whether you work or not, you have a revenue, a pipeline of between $150,000 and $200,000 flowing into you, whether you work or not. Now, there are people who are working night and day who don't earn that in 30 years. But those who become financially independent have come to that point where the proceeds from their assets, proceeds from their investments is capable of meeting their personal and family needs. Now, for many years, I used to also promote that this is the ultimate, until a couple of years ago when I stumbled on, some real facts and realized that that's not the ultimate. You see, the reason this is so important is because water does not derive fulfillment for being water. Its fulfillment is derived from quenching the thirst of other creatures. So water doesn't drink water to find fulfillment. Water finds fulfillment by quenching thirst for other creatures. Am I making sense here? So the ultimate is not for you to earn a living or make a living and be comfortable. The ultimate is that you become a pipeline of support and supply to other people. And that's where financial freedom comes in. And that's why my focus in this financial freedom challenge, that is the ultimate. So financial freedom, unlike financial independence, is the point in your life where the proceed from your asset and investment is not only capable of meeting your personal and family needs, but also able to extend goodness and kindness to others. That is when you can be said to be financially free. And this is so important. So important. So important. Okay. I hope it's adding value already. So to now migrate, to go on this journey from financial crisis, depending on where you are. I mean, there are people who are in financial crisis, there are people who are in financial instability. So depending on where you are, and there are those who may already be financially independent, right? But who are not necessarily financially free by my definitions. So you now know what to adjust. And if you are financially unstable, there are things we are going to be sharing here in the course of these 3 days that will also liberate you. That will also liberate you speedily. So let's get right into today's subject. So today I've done a bit of introduction. So to migrate from financial crisis or wherever you are to financial freedom, you need to become first. And so what I want to do in this particular session is to take you through the first module of this particular lecture, which is being. Who must you become? The version of you must become. And so let's look at how to become a money magnet. How to become a money magnet. Let's see if I can finish this within the next 30 minutes. The next 30 minutes. Okay. Excuse me. All right. So I said this earlier that if you are not truly free until you're economically free. And this is another interpretation of that. Unless you have financial resources of your own, you can't truly be free. You can't lead your home. You can't lead an organization if you're not truly economically free, economically empowered. And so this is so important. Now, how do you become a money magnet? It's the very first step we want to take. Becoming a money magnet is first an internal game before it becomes external. Becoming a money magnet is first an internal game before it goes external. Who you become, right, is what determines what you ultimately attract. I said it earlier. You don't attract what you want. You don't attract what you like. You attract who you are. So the reason why a lot of people make efforts in futility towards achieving their financial progress is largely because there is no, in deliberate effort in developing and investing in themselves. A lot of people feel that investment in knowledge is expensive. Someone said that if you think knowledge is expensive, he said, try ignorance, it will cost you more. It will cost you more. It will cost you setback. It will cost you a whole lot. All right? So one of the things I've come to discover personally is that we are all energy beings. We all transmit or emit energy. So when you get into a room that is neutral, the moment you showed up, you donate a portion of energy. If it is positive, it will infect the atmosphere. If it is negative, it will infect the atmosphere. And that's why who you associate with most of the time impacts on the kind of energy you transmit from time to time. So we are all energy beings. And we all transmit both positive and negative energy depending on different circumstances. Now, the kind of energy you transmit will determine what you attract or repel. So if you transmit positive energy, you will attract, opportunities. That's why it appears that some people, you don't even know whether or not they are they ever have problems, whether or not they have challenges. So most times you think that it is because everything is working perfectly. That's why they are always excited. That's why they are always happy. There are people, I remember one of my mentees who reached out to me a few years ago to complain about a problem he was going through in his business. And I asked him a very simple question. I said, would you like me to share with you? And this is not to say that we are excited about problems, but problems are opportunities. Problems is what reveals the genius inside of you. And I said to him, I said, let me reveal part 1, volume 1 of problems in business to you. And by the time I was done that night, he received his consolation, because he said he never believed that I was going through all that. And I was always excited. All right. So there are most of the people you are envying are going through much more than you think they are going through. And so it is not because things are bad that you are sad. It is because you are sad that things are bad. I'm going to repeat that again in case you didn't hear me. It is not because things are bad that you are sad. It is because you are sad that things are bad. So you want to regulate the energy around you. You want to first and foremost regulate the energy flowing inside of you. And I'm going to share some thoughts with you here today. If you are not happy with what you are attracting, if you are not pleased with what is coming your way, then you want to check what you are transmitting. You want to check the energy you are transmitting to your environment. This is so important. This is so important. This is so important. This is so important. Okay? One other thing I have come to discover also is the fact that there's a connection between your self-esteem and your wealth. You see, there are people whose self-esteem is tied to the things they own. And it's a very delicate place to be. It's a very dangerous place to be. So if you have a big house, big car, and you feel that you are worth something, it's a delicate place to be. But there are others whose self-esteem, whose value of themselves, right, whose self-image is not tied to the things they own. And so whether or not those things are there, they are still confident. They know they can always reproduce it. And that's the best place to be. So there are lots of people in Africa whose self-esteem, whose sense of self-worth is tied to the things they own. Now, while it is not a bad idea to have things, if you want to begin the journey to financial freedom, the first place you must begin from is you must have a good self-image. You must have a good sense of self-worth. You must value yourself. You must believe in yourself with or without any material substance, because that's where it begins from. Your self-esteem drives your ability to produce those physical things. And those physical things and the revenue and the income that you begin to make also boost your self-esteem and vice versa. But it does not begin with those money. It does not begin with assets. It begins with you. It begins with your self-worth. So self-image is so important. And that's one of the greatest disservice most of us have suffered growing up. So people have talked us down. People have shut us down. You know, in Africa, we have different kinds of parables or proverbs. And then they tell you when an elder is talking, you don't talk. So they've beaten away the confidence in you. So you don't even believe in yourself and you don't believe in anything possible. All the dreams you ever had, they've knocked it out to some. We don't talk like that here. You don't behave that way here. How many people have achieved that kind of a thing? Stop it. And many of us who, by the help of God, have become something of value today, have been spoken to in that manner too. All right. So you want to work on your self-esteem, and all of these things play a critical role. Now, because this is hardly talked about, a lot of people just go into budgeting, they go into all the things they must do, and they find themselves going back to what they've been doing before. Because if you don't become a newer version of yourself, then you will not continue to do the things you're supposed to do. A dog does not require rehearsal to bark. It's its nature. A dog barks, whether, it's natural for dog to bark. That's the way they communicate. That's the way they express themselves. But if a cartoonist, a cartoon character, a human being needs to play the role of a cartoon, in a cartoon play or whatever, the cartoon character must, of a necessity, right, subject himself or herself to rehearsal. But a dog does not require that. A dog doesn't require that. Okay? So this is so important. Now, so your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-image, how well you believe in yourself, all of these things impact significantly. So let's get into how do you recondition yourself to attract a lot of cash? How many of you are interested in that? Let me see the room. How many of you are interested in that? Let me know if you're interested. If you're interested, just type 5 in the chat room. If you're interested in the things I want to share, please, can you pull it off, please? I'm not yet there. So follow me, follow my instructions. Don't be revealing the things I want to share until I share it. Hello? Excellent. Now, this is very, very potent and very, very powerful. You know the reason why some of the things I want to share with you are very potent. They can help you anytime you derail, anytime you notice that, oh, the things you're attracting are not desirable, are not the kind of things you desire, are not in alignment with your wishes, right? You already know what to go and change. You know what to go and alter. And that's the reason why this is so important. So once you realize that what you're attracting, you know, or you are repelling opportunities, you are repelling miracles or whatever, anything desirable, you are always repelling them, then you need to go back to yourself. And the reason why a lot of people are failing is because they are blaming other people for their failures, right? They never take responsibility for why things are not working the way it's supposed to work. And the beginning of this change that you would love to see is you. And the day you get this, the day you accept this as the truth, that is when your financial story begins to change. That you are the architect of everything that is going on in your life. You are fully responsible for whatever the outcome of your life is. So let's begin by looking at how to become a money magnet. The first one here is gratitude. Gratitude. Gratitude is so powerful that it reconditions your heart positively. Nothing increases your positive energy like gratitude, and nothing drains your positive energy like ingratitude. So if you are always in the habit of complaining, you're always seeing things that are not working, you're always focusing on everything that is not working, what you are essentially doing is you are draining your positive energy and you are limiting your possibilities at attracting the things that will make you succeed. It is impossible to be grateful and be sad at the same time. It is impossible to be grateful and be fearful at the same time. Try what I'm talking about. Just itemize things. One of the practices you need to develop as an individual is have a gratitude journal. Make it a daily practice. Having a gratitude journal. What are you grateful for on a daily basis? Just show that gratitude to, you know, for some, if you're a Christian, you show gratitude to your God. Whoever you are, I'm sure you have a God or somebody that you believe you are praying to. Just show that gratitude. And watch what begins to happen. Watch what begins to happen. One thing that happens when you start to show gratitude, heartfelt gratitude, is that it helps you to consciously increase your positive energy. This is so powerful. Most people will not tell you, but most of the successful people I have met, most of the great people I have met are very grateful people. They are very grateful people. And most of the poor people I know on this planet are very ungrateful. They feel that the world owes them everything, and they owe the world nothing. They feel they deserve much more. And that is one of the greatest disservice. That's one of the greatest enemies of your achieving, attracting, or becoming a money magnet. This is so important. So gratitude. So how do you address this? Develop a gratitude journal where you document things you are grateful for. however little those things may appear. One of the things I found out early on is the fact that a lot of people, because they set so high goals, they set high goals in their lives, in their career, in their businesses, and those things don't happen, they fail to recognize and celebrate little success. Little success. So let me give you an instance. If in a week, if you run a business and in a week your target is that, okay, you will generate a revenue of 100 million, and that week ended, maybe 25 million came in, the tendency of a person who will not become a money magnet is that they will begin to frown at the fact that they did not meet their 100 million targets. But the tendency of the person who becomes a money magnet is to be grateful for what came. That is how this thing works. So you have a child. That is something to be grateful for. You have eyes you can recognize, you can see. You have nose you can perceive. Is something to be grateful for. And quite a lot of people don't even itemize these things. So you went on an assignment, you traveled and you returned. Or you went to work and you returned. It's something to be grateful for. So list out. You can make a list of 5 things you are grateful for each day before you retire to bed and show that gratitude. Listen, you are programming yourself for success. That's why I said that most people are programmed for success or failure. We are the architect of our goodness and our breakthrough and our breakdown. We are the architects. If you understand this science, you will know that this thing is so powerful. So what are you grateful for? Number 2 is think abundance. Think abundance. Think abundance. Now, listen to me carefully. This is so powerful. These principles, this is what makes you the kind of person that attracts the kind of money you want to attract. You know, in my course, in the financial freedom course, I often begin the class by asking, who must you become to achieve financial freedom? There's a version that you must become. There's a person you must become. The challenge with us is that we want to remain who we have always been, but want a different result. My brother and my sisters in this room, let me advise. Is your thoughts, the predominant thought, is it consistent with the results you want to see in your life? If we query your thoughts, query or screen your thoughts, if we scan your thoughts, if there's an X-ray, if you carry out an X-ray of the predominant thoughts in your mind, is it consistent with the goals and the dreams in your heart? Or the things you said, I want to achieve this, I want to become this. For most people, they really are not thinking. What they have been doing is they've been worrying, and they look similar. One is constructive, the other one is destructive. One puts you on the spiral note, takes you down on the spiral level. The other one moves you to the next level. And I'm going to show you a little science of how this thinking, our thoughts. So most wealthy people are not wealthy because of cash. They are wealthy because of the way they think. They are wealthy because of their thought pattern, the way they think. The way they think. So it's time for each and every one of us here to start to query how we think. It's time to start to query how you think. Snap. Just, I mean, if you go silent for like 30 minutes, 1 hour, ask yourself what has preoccupied your mind. So you don't become wealthy because you have cash. You become wealthy because you think wealth. It has been proven that most people who achieve their financial goals, what preoccupies their mind is what they want to achieve. And because they are constantly thinking about it, even when they fall asleep, their subconscious mind takes over the thoughts of their mind and process it and suggests to them different creative methods and strategies to achieve it. One other thing about thinking abundance, right, is the fact that as you start to think in that manner, it will put you in a state where you easily recognize the opportunities, the people, the places, the platforms, the products that will facilitate the realization of your dreams. This is so important. This is so important. This is so important. I know what I'm talking to you about, and I know that. Now, I want you to take your notes and write in vertical shape, in vertical order, not horizontally. Write T-E-A-R on your notes, in your notes. Write T-E-A-R. I wish I could illustrate that on the screen, but I don't have that opportunity. Now, T-E-A-R is an acronym for T means thoughts. T means thoughts. Thoughts. E represents emotions. A represents actions, while R represents results. Are you still following me? If I still have you with me, can you please type 10? Type 10 in the chat room, just to be sure that everybody's still hooked up here. You can still hear me loud and clear. Excellent. Excellent. So, thoughts. T represent thoughts. Now, listen to me, from experience and from studies and research, it's been proven that your thoughts, whatever you dwell on long enough, precipitates into an emotion. That emotion is what fuels your action. That action is what determines your results. Now, the gap between your thoughts and your results is the emotion and action. That's the gap. But what I've come to discover over the years is that there's usually that misalignment between what I'm thinking and what I want to achieve in terms of my results. And that's why I hardly achieve it. So if, for example, you want to make ₦1 billion, and that is the result that you have set as a goal, if you want to generate the energy, the fuel, if you want to generate the fuel and the action that will produce it, you need to ensure that that 1 billion is what preoccupies your mind. What I'm sharing here is so powerful. It has changed my life. And most times when I have occasions when I drift myself, because you can drift. You can drift. Situations and circumstances can give you jabs, and then you forget all your principles. And so you just go back and say, okay, sorry. It's like I've been dwelling on the problems. You know what we do so often, most of us, what we do so often and do so repeatedly is that we dwell more on our problems than we dwell on what will bring us out. And we wonder why we are always sad. You're always, pessimistic. You don't see any possibility. You're wondering why some people are even happy, why some people are excited. It's because of what has preoccupied your mind. And a lot of us have not been trained to think on what will move us forward. So it's time to start to query. Let me be honest with you. Where you are today is a reflection of your consistent and dominant thoughts the last 11 months plus. If you be honest with yourself, your current reality is no different from what has preoccupied your mind. Now, there's a law called the law of attraction, and it's one of the most powerful laws of success that I know. That law states that everything that happens around you is a direct reflection of your dominant thoughts. It's a direct reflection of your dominant thoughts. So, if you want to change what you are attracting, you need to change what you are thinking. So this is very, very, very important. When you start to think in billions, you start looking beyond your current income and you consciously push yourself to expand your plans. You start you start seeing, so when they say there's one program, you attend. When they say there's a book that just came out, you order for the book. The reason that you have come to that state, a lot of people will see a particular product and they say, no, it's too expensive. The only reason that is happening is because their thought is not consistent with the result they want to produce. So what I've done over the years and what I encourage most people I coach, most of my clients, what I encourage them to do is that once I ask you what you want to achieve and you tell me what you want to achieve, I tell you go and put that figure where you will see it regularly. Where you see it regularly. And that will literally alter your thoughts, alter your thinking. Are you following me at all? This is so important. Number 3, my time is fast spent. I've dwelt so much on this 3. Number 3 is sell what people can't do without. You want to become a money magnet. Sell what people can't do without. Sell what people can do without. Listen to me carefully. The cheapest way to achieve success is to serve, is to offer value, is to solve problems for other people. You see, the more you do that, the more the market pays you. The more you do that, the more the market pays you. So what you are getting, the revenue that is flowing to you is in direct proportion to your own contribution to the world. And like what I say to people, most of my mentees, what I share most of the time is that if you are not pleased with what you are getting out of life, check what you are donating to life. Check your contribution. And so more importantly, you want to look at products and services that people really can't do without. I know you are passionate about certain things, but those things are not necessarily the things that people want to buy. Why not identify what people are already buying and sell it? That's still part of offering value. That's still part of selling what people can do without. During COVID and the lockdown globally, a lot of us needed to feed, but we were all locked down in our homes, correct? We were all locked down in our respective homes. But in most countries, the privilege was granted to sectors that were providing, essential services. Those essential services were the ones that were making money. Now, because most people were in their respective homes and couldn't go anywhere, we all had the need for internet. Most of us needed to pay for our cable TVs and all of that so that we can be current with the news around the world. Most of us had to feed. Most of us who had big offices, we abandoned our offices, we stayed back in our homes, we created home offices. It tells you something. It speaks to what can people not do without. Hospitals, healthcare sector was just booming all through that period. Food sector was just booming. If you are into residential development, you literally cripple hotel business was crippled, travel and tours was crippled, right? Those were sectors that were worst hit during those periods. Now, that's not to say those sectors are not relevant. I'm saying that what are the sectors that are in hot demand, come rain, come shine? It doesn't have, let me tell you something, man. For a long time, I used to talk about pursue your passion, follow your passion. Let me tell you something. Follow where the money is going first. Then when you make money, you can now begin to fund what you are passionate about. This is very important. Make the money first, then you now do what you are passionate about. Are you following me at all? If what people can do without is not in alignment with your passion, essentially once it is legitimate and it's not destroying lives, right? And it is what people need. As long as it's not destroying people's lives, as long as it is legitimate, right? That is what should be your priority, even if it does not align necessarily with your passion. Because if your passion cannot put food on your table, it's not what you should put first. You should put what will bring money, and then you start to fund your passion. Am I communicating here? If you agree with me, just type yes in the room. Let me know that you are hearing me loud and clear. All this, I'm pursuing my passion. It's my passion. It's my passion. And you can't pay bills. You can't fulfill obligations. What is all the passion about? You just end up becoming a frustrated, passionate person. And there are many people like that. I've been there before. I remember the first event I hosted some 12 years ago, 11 years ago now, going to 12 years now. I would never forget. I've always been in this business of training, sharing knowledge and everything. And I was still in investment banking at the time. And I remember hosting this particular event because I was still working actively in the organization I was working at the time. I didn't have the approval, or rather, I didn't feel comfortable hosting that program in the same city where I was working. So I took the program to another city, along with two of my friends. And when we moved to that particular place, we had no product whatsoever. Guess the product whose product we displayed to be sold? It was my mentor's product. And I would never forget, it was the first speaker. He drove all the way from Lagos to speak at that particular location in Ilorin, Kwara State, Kwara Hotel, Ilorin, Kwara State, that time. That central Nigeria. And I would never forget, by the time he was done and I was seeing him off to his car, he looked to the left as he was going out of the hotel room, as he was going out of the hall, just at the hallway, the left side to the hallway. He said, "So can you see this?" He said, "What if your product were the ones on display?" Listen to me, my people. Whether the product belongs to you or belongs to someone else, make sure you have product. If you are not taking anything to the market, you don't qualify for income. And what should drive that choice should be what is in great demand. This is so important. What is in demand? What are the gaps in the market? And which product or service is filling that gap? I identified residential development. And that's why I'm into real estate. Beyond the fact that no matter the level of advancement we have in technology, nobody will be sleeping on their website. Nobody will sleep on their social media page. People still need a place to put their back. True or false? And so I identified that, and I'm playing in that. So I've gone from just selling for other people to building houses, selling landed property, because I realized that that is one thing that people cannot do without. Literally every industry requires real estate. Every one of you are on a piece of real estate, whether it belongs to you or belongs to somebody else. The question is, which one are you selling? This is very, very important. So sell what people can do without. Money is the reward you get for solving problems for people. So you solve problems for people if you're helping them to save money, you're helping them to make more money, you are helping them, you are providing. There's no reason why they won't want to pay you more. Everybody is selfish, whether you like it or not. Everybody is selfish. Everybody is looking for how they can cheat other party. Everybody wants to pay less for more. They want to get more value than they are paying. The question is, are you the one offering that? So the more problems you are solving for people, the more value you are adding to people, the more needs you are meeting, the more money flows to you. So money is a reward. You want to become a money magnet, sell what people can't do without. So that should become your focus. Number 4, I think I need to wrap up now so I can take questions and then we can call it a day for today. Number 4, acquire and harness scarce skills. Acquire and harness scarce skills. You want to become a money magnet? You need to acquire skills that are in hot demand. Acquire skills that are in hot demand. Listen to me carefully. Nobody pays for certificates anymore. Nobody hires people, no company hires people because of their certificate. They hire people because they have skill that can solve specific problems. My mentor said several years ago, he has this common saying. He said, vacancy is a cry for help. So anytime you see vacancy, it is cry for help. It's like, we have problem, can't help us solve them. But the people who can solve those problems are not essentially those who have certificates, but people who have developed some skills. Now, if you go on Google, type scarce skills, you will see the list of scarce skills. But I can give you some that you can't do without if you must win in this particular new economy that we are in. You need communication skill. You need problem-solving skills. You need selling skills. These are top skills in the list of things. So you need communication skills. You need problem-solving skills. You need selling ability to sell. And there are several other skills. Now, in all of these, most of the skills you will come across are some of them are technical skills. But the reason why I need to quickly drop this here, the reason why I mentioned these three, I've mentioned and a few others that will come later on, is the fact that there are skills you require to rise through the ranks. Now, technical skills can fetch you a job, can give you a high-paying job, but will not promote you. What will promote you is your emotional intelligence, your leadership skills. And these three skills I mentioned, your ability to sell, your ability to communicate, your ability to solve problems, is what puts you in the leadership pedestal. So acquire all the technical skills you want, but add these three to it. Somebody still with me here? Number 4 or number 5. Be valuable. Be valuable and put your value on display. Be a valuable person, but more important, put your value in display. Now, I'm not the type of person that likes to make noise. And in some ways, that has worked against me because people who did not know I carried that much value, I bypassed me, only for them to realize much later that, sorry, this guy even had so much more that I could offer. But because I really don't make that kind of noise, like I know I should be doing. I'm trying to do that now, but it's still not my personality. My personality doesn't make noise. If you see me, if you have opportunity to interact with me, you will know the kind of a person I represent. But listen to this carefully. I have learned the hard way. If you are a valuable person and you are the only one that knows, you will be hungry. Let the world know that you carry value, that you have the answer to their questions. Let the world know that you have the solution to their problems. Am I communicating here? Don't be too humble. Don't be humble to the point where you don't advertise. Social media, you will not be there. You won't post on WhatsApp status. You won't share broadcasts. You are too shy. You are too humble, Abi. My brother, my sister, let me advise you. If you build, you have value to offer, put it on display. Put it on display. Very, very important. Listen to this carefully. If the day you say you want to resign in a place and they say, thank God, my brother, go and evaluate your value. Go and reevaluate how valuable you thought you were. If you exit a relationship and there is no vacuum, it is proof that you really have not been adding, you are not really as valuable as you thought. And that's why I always say that you are as valuable as your replacement cost. If you are common, you are not so valuable. If you can be easily replaced, you are not investing in your ability to deliver value. So please take note of this. How rare is it to reproduce you? How easy is it to reproduce you? How scarce is your kind in the market is what determines how valuable you are. And this is so important. This is so important. So put your value on display, leverage digital and traditional media. One of my proteges is to host a program later this month, and he told me of some of the creative. So I advised, I said, no, don't put something there. Don't do this one. I said, this is a more creative and more cost-effective way to still put your words out. So it's also something that has never been done in that particular industry ever before. And I'm so excited about what he's doing and what he plans to launch. So don't joke with the opportunity to put word out. So that when you should be Googleable, you should be what? Googleable. So if you want to know whether your value is in display, type your name, Google your name, and see what comes out. If you will buy from you when you see those things, then you will know whether or not you really have added value. And if your value is really in display. So this is very important. So if you need to do a press release, do a press release about the value you offer. Let 4 or 5 different newspaper, national newspapers, carry the news. So that when people search your name, search what you represent, something comes up. People want to do business globally, cross-continentally. Today, they will first search you out. So when they search you out, what will they find? Before they start finding something, you to ask yourself, would you do business with this person that you don't know before? Would you do business? And many of us are wondering, why are we not attracting some resources? These are some of the little things you need to go and change. What does your social media look like? Are you even on social media at all? And listen, you don't need to be at every social media platforms. Just find the ones that works really for you. Some people just say, sorry, I'm a professional. I'd rather be on LinkedIn. And that's all. That's fine. That's good enough. Some people say, sorry, I want to be on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Some other people say, sorry, I want to be on Facebook and I want to be on Instagram. And that's cool. And some people want to be on everywhere. Whichever one you choose, just make sure that you are consistent. Am I communicating? If your business is you sell bottles for people who produce processed water, or who manufacture, who sell products in bottles, who need to cork, they need bottles and cork. Put things out that reflect what you represent. This is important. It's very, very important. One thing I've come to discover, and I need to, this is where I'm going to end for tonight. One of the things I've come to discover is the fact that business is a perception game. Business is a perception game. Most times people don't buy because of what you are selling. They buy because of how it makes them feel. They buy because of how they see you. It's a perception game. There was even though I don't subscribe to that kind of product, there was a gentleman. Well, I call a lot of people gentlemen, even though I don't think they're all gentle. But I remember this guy launched a product and it was on social media everywhere. It was everywhere. My goodness. It was everywhere. Even me, that I don't do that kind of I don't subscribe to that kind of a product. I was aware that product was launched. I was aware that that product was launched. So everywhere. And now the product is going international. Listen to me carefully. Don't just carry what people need. More important is that you put it on display. Leverage all the avenues that will put this thing, and there are cost-effective means. And that's one of the reasons why I love the social media. So rather than go on social media and be gossiping and then be wasting time chatting away, and wasting away time, focus more on your service. And so when people go on your page, they see, okay, this is what this guy does. They have a sense of what you represent. They can trace you. You have digital footprints. This is very, very important. So what people think of you could either lead to gain or lead to a loss of income. And one of the ways you can shape that perception is what you put out there, what they can find about you. So you'll be surprised that there are people who have already made a decision not to do business with you. on grounds that, sorry, they can't find anything about you. Except you are not planning to make money, except making money is not part of your agenda, no problem. But if it is part of your agenda, then of a necessity, you must put something out there so that when people search you out, they're able to find some stuff about you. For so long, I hid my value, and money kept hiding from me. My initial thought was that I was hiding from my enemies. What I also did not realize was that I was also hiding from friends. I was also hiding from helpers of destiny. So my dear brothers and sisters, let me advise. Pay a publicist. Pay someone to put something out about the services you are doing, you are rendering. If you need to hire someone or outsource this aspect of putting some, if you are not the type of who is digitally, who is social media savvy, who is tech savvy, then you may need to engage someone who's an expert in that area, and it will go a long way in helping you. Let me give you one more. Let me give you some more. Build a profitable network. You heard it said before, your network determines your net worth. Build a profitable network. There are associations that you will need to register in. There are clubs you may need to register in, because you see, money hides in people. There's what we call the 3 to 6 degree of separation. And that law simply states that you are 3 to 6 people away from your next major breakthrough. Somebody that knows someone, that knows someone, that knows someone. So you need to deliberately, intentionally, and actively build network. You need to deliberately, intentionally build network. So you attend a program because, see, on my phone, I have some dangerous contacts. I'm just a phone call away from mighty people on this continent called Africa. And it's very important. Some you need to pay money to have them as your colleague. Listen, there are some clubs you join that to be a member of that club, you must carry weight. So for you to be able to afford that kind of money, then you must be in our clique. This is very important. Now, if you are not capable of doing that now, there are other low-hanging fruits you can still use to build network. There are people that I know, and the only reason why I got to know them and have them as friends is because I bought their product and I requested that I wanted them to autograph the product. There are people that because I wanted to meet them, I attended the program they hosted to build a relationship. And listen, this is one place that most people miss it. When you are building networks, when you are building relationships, let your first priority be to identify a need in the life of those people. The mistake a lot of people make when they are building relationships is that they position themselves as parasites. And that's where a lot of people miss it. Position yourself not as a parasite, position yourself as a solution. Identify a gap in them. If, for example, somebody that is of high reputation, maybe his daughter or son is getting married, that's a good opportunity for you to grace that occasion and give a gift. A lot of people don't recognize this and they miss out on this. I call that strategic giving. Now listen to me carefully. Every human being you would ever meet has what is called emotional bank account. Every human being has it. And if you keep giving, you are depositing in that emotional bank account. That means your emotional bank account has bank balances. You all agree with me that no deposit, no withdrawal. The reason a lot of people are trying to make withdrawals and their checks are being bounced is because they are not making any deposits. So every new relationship you build, you want to open an emotional bank account and you make sure that you are crediting it. Sometimes just a phone call. I heard about the news of so and so. I just said I should check on you and just find out how you're doing. That's you are depositing that emotional bank account. In some other instances, it's just that you just show up for the person when they needed you the most. Sometimes it may be that you give them a network, you give them a lead, you give them a link to someone. And this is very powerful. A lot of times people don't know. So build profitable network. There's so much money flowing around. But what I've come to discover is that it's flowing just around a few people, a select group. To tap into it, follow the things I've just said with you. Position yourself well. Position yourself well. Number seven, I think I should share everything here. It's not a problem. That's the reason why you joined. Play to your strength. Play to your strength. Play to your strength, not to your weakness. Play to your strength, not to your weakness. Let me tell you this, focus on what's already producing and generating income. In your personal life, in your business, in your career, focus on what's already producing. The cheapest way to fail, the cheapest way to operate under a course is to play to your weakness. The cheapest way to operate under a course is to operate outside your strength. So you don't want to be in that trap. You don't want to be caught in that trap. So my recommendation is play to your strength. What are you really good at? What do people commend about you? Play in that area. Let that be what will drive everything else you will do going forward. That's how you become a money magnet. 80% of your income comes from 20% activity. And what I've come to discover is that 20% activity is in the area of your strength. You are not strong in every area, but the one you are strong in has the potential to generate for you 80% revenue. So if you make 30 million a month or 10 million a month, I can almost guarantee you that 20%, 80% of that income is coming from your area of strength. So if you x-ray your current income right now, what you want to identify, what is your area of strength? Go and identify which one is a reflection of your greatest strength. So your earnings is a reflection of your greatest strength. It's a reflection of your skill. Why not give more attention to that? You'll be amazed how that you'll become a money magnet of some sort. This is the reason some people earn more than others, because they focus on what is producing. One of my mentors shared this years ago, and it became one of my templates. And what did he share? He shared that anytime the year is rounding up, he often documents his income and expenditure. So he makes a list of all the things that brought money into his life, and then he will make a list of all the things that took money away from him. Part of the things he has learned to do is he will look at what brought his highest income. He said the following year, that's what he's going to focus his energy on. He said whatever brought more money the first year is where he narrows all his energy the following year. And he said it has never failed him. And listen to this carefully. I've been doing the same. And I've noticed every year is always better than the previous year. This is important. Very, very important. Very, very important. You want to focus on what is producing. That is a reflection of your strength. And finally, tonight is be liquid. Be liquid. A wise man said, money doesn't go to who needs it. It goes to those who multiply it. Money doesn't go to those who need it. It goes to those who multiply it. So from my experience and from the things I've studied and the things I've seen and my interaction with people, right, I have come to discover that money, even though it is inanimate, it is also very selective. So even though money does not have mouth, does not have nose, money is still very selective. It selects where it goes. I found out that the more of it you have, the more you attract. The more opportunity you are able to attract. So anything that drains your liquidity is inadvertently impacting on your ability to attract more cash. So save consistently, build up cash reserve, set up an emergency account. Now, I've had people say, oh, savers are losers, but that's not totally true. That's not totally true. That's not complete. That is half truth. Right? That's an incomplete truth, and it's also very dangerous. Listen to this carefully. Savers are not necessarily losers. It is people who save as an investment that are losers. So you don't save as an investment, you save for investments. It is those who save as an investment that are losers, not those who save for investments. This is so important. So be liquid. Being liquid means having cash reserve. I remember a while back, we had the opportunity to acquire some properties and we got them ridiculously cheap, about almost 400% lower than the market price. And the only reason we could harness that opportunity was because we had ready cash. What opportunities have passed you by just because you don't have cash? So this is important. Very, very, very important. So when you create an emergency fund, an emergency account, what you are doing is it helps you to access opportunities that can fast track your possibilities in life. And it also helps you to address emergency situation, crisis situation that may otherwise throw you off balance. Now, there are those of you on this platform who may already be doing, tons of millions of dollars in turnover in your businesses. And, ordinary 100 million naira can mess you up because you don't have it. Ordinary 50 million can mess you up. So you want to build up your cash reserve. You don't joke with that. Now, let me share something with you. One of the things I found out as a secret, even for corporate organizations around the world, some of the biggest debtors you will know that exist around the world are also some of the people who have the highest cash reserves in the world. Apple, go and check how much they have in cash reserve. They still access credit, but they don't joke with their cash reserve. They will rather leverage their cash reserve to access credits. They will rather collateralize their cash reserve to access credits. This is very powerful. So there is no bank on planet Earth that you will have $10 million in cash in your bank account, and you say you need $1 million credits, and they won't give you the money. There is none. There is no bank on planet Earth where you have 1 billion naira, and then you say you need 100 million naira overdraft or 100 million naira loan, and they will not give you. They feel safe to give it. You are not a risk to them at all. Why? You collateralize it with your cash reserve. This is so important. Be liquid. So save consistently, save deliberately and intentionally. Build up cash reserve, and it will help you. It will help you to harness opportunities that will ultimately build you up significantly. I have other tips, but this is where we have to draw the curtain so that we can take questions. This meeting is not supposed to take more than 1.5 hours, but I've already exceeded 1 hour plus. So what I want to do right now is to take your questions. If you have any question. Now, how many of you have drawn value from what I've shared with you here? If it has added any value, just drop a comment. Let me know. If you have questions, you can drop a comment as well. I'm ready to take those questions. I'm ready to take questions right now. I'm ready to take questions. Thank you. Thank you. Now, there are people you also know that you feel that should be in this particular room. This is my recommendation. Anyone you know that you believe need to be in this meeting, I want to recommend. Invite them tomorrow. Just share the same link with them to join tomorrow. Does that make any sense? Just invite them to join tomorrow, 7 p.m. West African time, Nigerian time, because I know now that we have Kenyans, we have people from Ghana, Ghanaians, we have people from Rwanda, we also have, of course, Nigerians here. Let me request that all of us invite people, let them join tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll be showing you in very practical terms how to achieve your financial target, and I'll be sharing some very deep stuff. These are not common things that people find anywhere. So, do we have any question? Thank you very much, all this beautiful comment. Thank you for all the compliments. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, do we have questions? My admin, can you please scroll through to see if we have any questions? If we are not taking any questions, that'll be fine. Then tomorrow we'll be taking a lot of questions. Thank you, Mr. John Aide, Mr. Folabi. Thank you, Lydia. Appreciate. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bidoye. Good to see you here, sir. Appreciate you. I celebrate you, sir. Mr. Oyeleya, good to have you, sir. Thank you, sir. Adeleke Adebayo, thank you, sir. You want me to share notes 1 to 8? Okay, so this is what I'm going to suggest. We'll share the link, the YouTube link. What we did here is also available. We'll share the YouTube link with all of you, okay? So you can watch the replay. I hope that makes sense. All right, thank you very much. Do we have questions? Questions, please. Okay.
Yes, we do have questions, sir.
All right, so let me take them.
So let me just read.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Okay. So thank you very much for this class. This is from Ayomide.
Okay.
To become a money magnet, your first point was gratitude. Does that include you paying your tithes as a Christian?
Okay, well, I've seen people who have paid their tithes, but are always ungrateful. So these principles are not in isolation of other principles. So if you pay your tithe, but are not a grateful person, or you are grateful, but you don't give, it also has its own impact, right? So it does include, it does include that, but gratitude is very powerful. Very, very powerful. No. It's very powerful. Very powerful.
All right. So this is from Lydia Tuhei. Hi, I really am. Okay, sorry, let me take it again. Okay. I'm from Kenya. I have confidence, good communication skill, but I lack cash. What do I do?
I love this question. This question is so you have confidence, but you lack cash. Go and check all the 8 things I shared. You probably lack 1 or 2 of those items. You probably lack gratitude. You probably lack liquidity. Let me tell you this. If you want to start a business and you ask someone to give you money, or you ask somebody to loan you money, the first thing they want to find out is how much of your own money is even invested in that particular venture. Because if you are not willing to take a risk, why should they take a risk in it? So that's why, see, even banks don't give money to people who need money. They give money to people who don't need it. That's one of the things I found out. Banks, people who give money, they give money to people who don't really need it. So the principle of liquidity is something that most people don't practice. They don't save consistently. They blow it all. So that's also one of the major things. Then maybe you need to invest more in network. And then maybe your confidence is perceived as arrogance. So in your clique of association, it's not very unlikely that they perceive you as very arrogant, and that can affect why people will not want to do business with you. So you want to watch that. Humility makes you attractive. Humility makes you attractive. So there's a thin line between confidence and arrogance. So sometimes we don't know when we cross the line. And that's why it's so important that you respect people. It doesn't take anything from you. When you honor people, you respect people, it doesn't reduce you. It actually elevates your value before them, especially when people now know how much you really worth. When people know who you are, what you are really worth, it will humble people, right? To humble people. So I love the fact that you are confident, you believe in yourself. That's good. That's very fantastic. But please go and identify the other ones that you may be lacking in. Thank you.
So this question is from Mr. Lawrence Barnabas. Okay. What will you do when you consistently miss opportunities because of finance? I have always loved to attend seminars and take hold of opportunity, but always meet me cashless.
My goodness, I'm hearing some very powerful questions here, and I'm laughing. You see, if you have been losing and missing opportunities, it means what you just need to alter the loss of opportunities is to maximize one. Is to maximize one first. Don't attempt to gain all opportunities. You see, opportunities comes in cycles. There are some opportunities that are lifetime opportunities. Once you miss it, you have missed it forever. But there are other opportunities that they come in cycles. So if you maximize one opportunity, it will give back to several other opportunities. So the point is prepare for opportunity. That's why we always say it is better to be prepared, waiting for opportunities, than for opportunities to meet you unprepared. So any opportunity you miss, it was because you were not prepared. Either by cash or by skill, you must have something you are putting on the table. There's what we call sweat equity, right? So, I mean, if you don't have cash to start the business and you still don't have strength, you don't have wisdom, you don't have skill to contribute to say, sorry, oh, this is my own contribution to make this business work. Because if let me give an instance, we're going to start a software development company years back. And I reasoned within myself, if we were going to hire a software developer, it was going to cost us probably 2 million naira a month as salary. So I decided that, well, instead of doing that, let me collaborate. And then we share the ownership of the business, 50-50. So bring your skill, I will bring some other resources that will help us to get started. So you must have something you are putting to the table so that you don't keep missing opportunities. So I would recommend that if there's a knowledge gap, if there's a skill gap, if there's a relationship gap, you want to bridge those gaps first in preparation for similar opportunities in the future. I hope that helps.
So this question is coming from YouTube. Ogunlaye Kolawole is saying, how do we make the society want our value?
Okay, so what you see is perception. How you see it is perspective. The job of media is to help people see you help people see you in such a way that they want to buy from you. And that's the reason why you have publicists, you have PR, managers and specialists like that, right? And there are many, many courses online that can help you do that. Okay? So to help people see you, number one, if you position yourself, if, for example, you are a realtor and there's nothing, you don't share content about different areas within your jurisdiction, about properties and all of those things, then how will people perceive you as a go-to person, as a go-to professional in that space, right? If you are a tailor or you are a fashion designer, like some people love to call themselves, right? And you're always looking tattered, you are not even wearing what you sew. Why should people come to you? So you correct perception, you correct perspective by you portraying and putting out content that drives traffic to you, right? So if you really are an expert and a solution provider in a certain area, then you need to put out content to help people see. Because listen to me carefully, every business, no matter the industry in which you are now, must be a tech company and a media company. No matter the industry in which you play, you must, so every business now must be tech enabled. Every business now must be the business of content. There's a gentleman called, I call a lot of people gentlemen, but forgive me for lack of a better word. This gentleman called on YouTube, you can Google YouTube on YouTube, they call him Mr. Beast. The guy recently launched like a burger store or something in America. And the first day of the launch, there was over 100,000 visitors to the store. But for many years, this guy has built his community on YouTube. The followers, the subscribers on YouTube alone is over 100 million combined. So you can imagine the guy has been putting out content. He has done crazy stuff online. And by the time this guy launched an arm of business, now he's a huge competitor to McDonald's that has been there for decades. He's a competitor to Burger King and a number of other eateries. So my point is, you must put out content that speaks to what you represent, that speaks to the value you're offering. If people can't perceive you as the go-to person, then they would never come to you. That's the way it is.
So we still have a lot of questions. So I would like us to take it. So let me just give you these 2 questions from YouTube, sir.
Okay.
So the first one says, how can someone in a survival stage level save, invest, and be financially free? That's the first one. And the second one is, how can one start from absolutely a place of zero capital and overcoming fear?
I love these questions. I'm so excited about the questions that I'm hearing. It means that most people came into this room prepared, and I'm so excited about that. Now, quickly, when I was talking about your journey to financial freedom and the 5 levels in that journey, I did mention that from the bottom up is financial crisis. And so in financial crisis, the first thing you want to do is you want to assess, you want to evaluate where you are, right? I'm going to touch on that briefly, maybe tomorrow or next, right? And so some of the questions we're asking now is already peeping into my notes for tomorrow and subsequent ones. But let me say this. When you are in a survival mode, you are in a selfish mode, and life does not reward you because you are selfish. Life rewards you for what you donate. If you are not pleased with what you are getting, the first thing you want to ask yourself is, what am I going to give in exchange for what I need? That's the first thing you must resolve. And if you know what you need to give to the market in exchange for what you need, the next step you want to take is, okay, what are the gaps between me and that? So it may be a knowledge gap, like I mentioned earlier. It may be a skill gap. It may be a relationship gap. All right, so you want to bridge those gaps. And it also may be financial gap. But what I've come to discover, we started our own real estate company without a dime. We started it without a dime. We started by selling for others. And then backward integrated into actual development. So you want to begin from, okay, if you identify the gap, you may not have the capital, financial capital to do that thing, but you may have the relational capital to kickstart the process. And that's where a lot of people miss it. Now, listen to me carefully. What you need is what you need, not the money to get what you need. The reason why the rich is rich is because they think differently. So if, for example, you need a house, what you need is a house. When we started, we didn't have money to even rent office. So I knew we needed an office, and I knew that it's not money to get the office that we needed. So I leveraged network, I leveraged relationships. So I spoke to a few people and said to them, we just need a contact place. We needed a contact place such that when anybody asks, where's your office out there, we'll be able to say, number 1, so and so place. And that was essentially what we did. And over a period of time, we outgrew the space and could now afford to, get our own space. And we've moved from one place and one level to another. So start from where you are, but don't over focus on the money to get it. There could be somebody else who doesn't need it as much as you do, and they can lend it to you. And that was what happened to us. I don't know if I answered that question. The second question, I didn't quite get it. So for you that want to start from absolutely a place of zero capital, I have just explained our own experience. So from zero capital, I hope you know, for those of you who are in Nigeria, I'm sure you are familiar with the name Dangote. Now, it may not look like somebody you want to emulate because you feel that it's too rich and that is not a good example. Somebody even told me that, a professor told me that years ago, and said, sorry, don't use Dangote as a case study. That his business practices are not the kind we should be studying. And I said, but that's surprising. But there's one thing about that man that you need to know. When he started his journey, he started from the front end. He didn't start from the back end. He started first as a distributor. He started with haulage and logistics. And that's something that a lot of people don't see. He started out in distribution and logistics. Much of the things that he now produces, he manufactures, were things he used to import. And over a period of years, he mastered the distribution network and then now went backward integrated into manufacturing. So rather than focus on importing, he went into production. Now, if he has started with production, he will still need to grow his market. So he first owned the market. Now, listen to this carefully. The owner of the market is superior to the owner of the factory. So make it a priority to own the market first before you own the factory. This is very important. So for those of you who are saying, oh, I don't have capital, you are heavily capitalized, just that your strategy is misplaced. You've misplaced the priority. Okay? What sort of investment would you advise a pensioner to embark on? Number one is most pensioners are risk averse and they are in a place where they can't afford to take risk. So you look for low risk investment. There's no such thing as risk-free investment, but there are low risk investment vehicles. So my recommendation is maybe if we can have one-on-one conversation with you, the safest I know is real estate. But depending on the size of funds that you have, we may not be able to predict what type of cash flow that you'll be able to put in place, right? So your budget and the resources available to you is what will determine to a very large extent what I may be able to recommend. But for most pensioners, it is still the money market instrument, but it's just that your money will be losing value over time and then it's really low. But in terms of safety and comfort, those are still an investment vehicle that are most suitable for pensioners. I don't know if that answers your question. The next one I want to
so we have a question. We have a question from the WhatsApp community.
Okay.
So, please, how can a government worker benefit from all these business strategies? Government workers at times are limited to their field. For instance, most teachers are limited to their classrooms.
Okay, so thank you very much for your question. I'll tell you this. Everybody, there are 4 categories of people in the marketplace that you'll find. You are either an employee, self-employed, business owner, or an investor. And guess what? Everybody, whether you are an employee, self-employed, or business owner, everybody has to be an investor. You know the reason why this is so important? The reason it's so important is because everybody, even a permanent secretary, doesn't have a permanent job. And your children, your generation will not inherit your role when you retire. So for that reason, investing means acquisition of assets. Asset is anything that appreciates in value and then puts money in your pocket. Liability, in simple terms, are things that you acquire that depreciates in value and takes money from you. So while you are actively working in classroom as a teacher or as a civil servant, working in a parastatal, you want to make sure that a portion of what you earn is yours to keep. So a portion of what you are earning, you are separating it, maybe 10%, maybe 20%. And I have some rules. I have templates that can help you, right? I'm going to be sharing that in the course of the next 2 days. So let's not jump the gun. You don't have anything to worry about. Okay, so I'm saying something. So, Wale, are you still there? Okay, so someone is saying here, Professor Marvel, saying that, thank you very much, sir. You said, good evening, sir. Trust you are fine and good. Thanks, mentor. I enjoyed the class and learned a lot. My question is, if you are in financial instability due to the fact that you started a new business, how do you come out of it? I know what you're talking about. And most people were ill-advised to go into business. Not everyone is wired to start a business. Some of us have technical skills to help people who have the courage and capacity to start business, because business will suck you, business will pull you, business will place demand on you, especially if you operate in Africa. Too many things are unpredictable, too many things you don't control. And it's like you can do everything right in a business environment like Nigeria or Africa, and you still go wrong. So you need stomach for risk. And in taking that risk, part of the things that should have been done, I mean, I'm just trying to profess some recommendations. I won't be able to give you the challenge with some questions that some of us are asking, that I see more of those questions as a coaching question. Some of those questions that some of us are asking are one-on-one, because the answer to somebody's question may not apply to everybody else. And except I ask you further questions, I may not be able to give you, the appropriate answer. But one thing I've come to discover is that a lot of people just take the risk without, sometimes it's just one step you need to check, you need to take, you are taking one step, not the two. You are not dipping your 2 feet in the water. You want to check whether it is shallow or deep, and to know how much more you need to go. And sometimes a lot of people were ill-advised, and then they dumped everything. They made sacrifice of everything. I've done that before, but I was much younger. I can't try some of the things I tried when I started out now. So when you retired and you went into business, and then you carry all your gratuity and put it in there, you were ill-advised. So what I would suggest you do is, number one, is to start with coaching. Let's start coaching. We need to retrace our steps and know where you missed it. You can contact my office, 0708-797-0441. For those of you outside Nigeria, just WhatsApp, just put +234 708-797-0441. And then we'll be hooked up to have a session with you. And then we'll tell you, we'll advise you on the details. What's your advice for someone that wants to start and play actively in real estate business? That is consultancy. Just come and see me. There are mistakes I've made that you don't need to make. I can teach you. There are different things you must do. I'm telling you, there are things that if somebody asked me one time, if you had to start afresh, what would you do differently? And that's what I'll be showing you. You don't even need to make that mistake anymore. So if you want to start a real estate business, come and just sign up for our coaching. Sign up for our coaching, and I can guarantee you the things I'm going to give you, it will keep you 20 years ahead. It will put you 20 years ahead. So I'm saying Peter one, so that's what I would suggest you do. All right, I think that will be all for tonight. I think that will be all for tonight. How can someone, I think I've answered these questions. How do you build, Mr. Daniel Odige, to build a profitable network, join associations, join different clubs, and then make yourself friendly, make yourself findable. So reach out to people, reach out to people. That's one way by which you can do that. Okay, I think that's about all for tonight. So thank you very much, everyone. You can go watch the replay on my YouTube channel, Oladipupo Clement, and then you'll be very glad you did. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. on the dot. Don't make the mistake. Invite other people to join us. Tomorrow, we've got loads and loads. Some of us are raising up our hands. I hope it's not a mistake. So please, let's join 7 p.m. tomorrow. Don't join late. It promises to be another time of our lives. And I'm going to be showing you very practically. So whatever it is that you currently do or you plan to do, what I'm going to deliver to you tomorrow will help you big time. I guarantee you that. Will help you massively. 2023, you have a soft landing. I can guarantee you on that. Right? So thank you so much, everyone. That will be all for tonight. So we'll see you again 7 p.m. Nigerian time tomorrow. Make it a date and invite others to join. Bye for now.